Have you experienced a lot of change over the last several weeks or months? A lot of people have, including myself. In fact, the last several weeks have been some of the most intense that I've experienced in a really long time. And I learned a thing or two along the way, which I thought, for what it's worth, I would share in a video. I'm Diane Bolden, executive coach and author of The Pinocchio Principle, Becoming a Real Leader: How to Unleash Genius in Yourself and Those You Lead. And for me, it started back in November. I played pickleball for the very first time on Thanksgiving Day, and as luck would have it, came down really hard on my ankle and sprained it pretty badly, which was really a bummer for me because running has always been my go-to stress reliever, the way that I clear my head, the way that I stay sane, and I wouldn't be doing that for a really long time. But that was just the beginning of the series of unfortunate events. A few weeks later, I had a medical procedure that had complications, ended up landing me in the emergency room via ambulance from a doctor's office. And I ended up having to go back to the doctor almost every day for almost 2 weeks to make sure that I was out of the woods. And when that finally got me on the other side, I had rotator cuff surgery on my left arm, my dominant arm. Now, I knew that was coming, but what I didn't know was coming 2 weeks before I had the surgery was that I was in a car accident where I completely totaled my car. And 2 weeks after my shoulder surgery, we had a plumbing disaster that flooded a good part of our house and necessitated that we take out over half of our floors and a good portion of our drywall, as well as our entire master bath, sink, showers, everything. We had demo crews in our house for a couple of weeks, pulling things out. You probably can see that I have clothes in my office, which is now my closet, because we had to vacate everything and had everything shipped off to storage. So we've been living on concrete floors, looking at the studs in our walls through the gaping holes where the drywall used to be, which I know in the scheme of things is really not that big of a deal. I know people have way worse challenges, but it was really discombobulating for me, and it kind of put me through a series of change events that had me reflecting and learning some things that I probably wouldn't otherwise have learned. So the first insight that I had is that when external circumstances change, it really does give you an opportunity to build inner reserves, because you have to. You're forced to do things you wouldn't otherwise have even considered. It was not a convenient time to have no use of my dominant arm when we had to move all kinds of stuff everywhere. I had to figure out new ways of doing things. And also, one thing that has always been kind of challenging for me, to accept support from other people, to ask people for help, to rely on them. And that was something that was really for my highest good. It was a kind of growth that I don't know that I would have been able to accomplish self-initiated. So sometimes life throws you curveballs to help you develop in ways that you would normally never even think about. So the second thing that I learned is that it's really important to watch your narrative, because when everything's going haywire and you feel like things are kind of being blown up or shaken, when you're losing a lot of things, it's really easy to focus on all the things that are going wrong, all the things that you're losing, all the frustration it's causing, all the inconvenience. And what I learned is that if you stay focused on that too long, you'll kind of get into a rabbit hole, because you'll tend to notice things that kind of confirm that way of seeing things. And you tend to screen out things that actually could pull you out of that rabbit hole and get you into a place where you're far more productive. So learning to recognize that, yeah, change is really inconvenient. It's very frustrating. There's a lot of things that you are losing, but there's also things that you're gaining. And I do believe that to some degree, there is a process for change. And I bring this up because, like I said, I've noticed that a lot of people are going through stuff right now. We're having our worlds kind of shaken. We're having to deal with loss. We're having to deal with unexpected, unanticipated series of events that we never would have wished for ourselves. And what it does do is it takes us from a place of order to a place of disorder. But what I realized is that what comes out on the other side of that is reorder. What comes out of destruction is newness, is building. It's almost a rebirth. And I think it's really important for us to remember this, because we're all going to experience change. If you're not in it right now, you will be soon. And it's so important to recognize that there are good things that come from it. So that leads me to the last thing that I noticed, the last insight that I gained, and that was about the importance of going with versus against the flow. Because again, like I said, What we want to do is we want to regain some semblance of control. We want to regain order. We want to kind of push the river or resist in ways that allow things to go back to the way we want them to be, as opposed to the way they're actually going. And my experience with that, well, I'll give you a simple example. I lost patience with my ankle healing. I decided that I needed to go for a run sooner than later. And so in my stubbornness, I went out and, of course, completely re-injured it, set the clock back for another 4 to 6 weeks when it blew up and swelling again. And that was really frustrating. And so as I reflected on that, what I realized is that things have a timeline of their own. Nature takes its course. And what I'm not advocating is that we just sit on our haunches and don't take any action at all when we can. What I am advocating is that sometimes it's important to kind of tune in to the way things are happening, to the natural flow of things, and to trust that there is a natural order, and to be very present to notice when it is time for us to act and when it is time for us to be patient and wait and have faith and hope. If you're in the midst of a lot of change right now, I wish you peace. I wish you resilience. I wish you patience. I wish you courage. And I encourage you to remember that the change that you're experiencing really will bring out inner reserves for you that you may not have even realized that you had. It will develop things in you that will allow you to come out on the other side stronger, and it will create a newness where you can reinvent wherever it is that the change is taking place in your life. If you'd like a little extra support in working through that change, I do have a program that could be of use to you. It's called Navigating Change, Challenge, and Uncertainty: How to Unleash Unprecedented Performance in Uncharted Territory. And right now I'm running a New Year's special that you can check out at meetchangewithstyle.com, where if you enroll in another popular program of mine called the Leveraging Your Style Disc Behavioral Style Self-Study, you'll get unlimited lifetime access to the Navigating Change, Challenge, and Uncertainty program. In any case, I want to thank you for watching. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to catching you next time.